All right, woods evaluations continuing on here. On this side, there it is. I knew there was another oak tree up here somewhere. On this portion here, there is no food available to the deer. No oak trees, no nuts. You know, a lot of cedars and pines right here. Here we've got maples with a lot of rot. Those trees, I mean, it's not like it's an unhealthy tree. It's still growing healthy, but structurally it's starting to deteriorate, and you want to remove a tree like this. Remember, when you're doing woods improvements, you want to put the best trees for the deer. And when you're logging, you're basically doing the opposite. A lot of loggers take your best trees and leave your ugly trees, and your forest level has degraded severely. So you're trying to reverse the damage done by logging by selectively leaving really good trees. So like this white oak right here, I mean, it's not straight by any means, but it has some decent potential. And as long as this huge sassafras trees right here, we're not going to get anywhere. And also this other white oak beside it's not going to get anywhere either. And this tree here is a major clog when it comes to getting more food out of the ground for your deer. And it's a huge nutrient sucker. Same thing with any tree that you don't need. It's taking away valuable nutrients out of the ground that surrounding white oaks could use. Now here we have a very, what I consider a dangerous tree right here. It's not a big tree, but the way it's leaning, the roots have popped up out of the ground. This tree is a definite removal. This has got to go, and it will be a much safer ride up here on our road bed. This wild cherry right here is in the same boat. You got a nasty 40, almost a 45 here, and it's leaning right out over the road. So both these trees here need to be cut down for safety reasons. Now over here we got a red oak. This tree gets a grade of a B plus, maybe an A minus. Really nice tree right here. I would say out of the ground you're looking at about 2 feet thick. Chest level, it's about 18 or so. So up here we have a tree that has broken through the canopy. The loggers never cut this tree down, they left it, and it took over a very large space. The only reason I'm not giving this tree really an A is because of this guy right here. This black gum is really starting to eat into that oak tree's canopy, and because of that, that tree is now starting to lean away from it. So by removing this guy, I could create a huge void right here and allow that tree to take over, thus increasing my nut crop greatly. So just by, see, I've kind of made my way back to the corner here. Just by doing a handful of improvements, you could greatly increase your nut crop and make it taste better. Now in this case right here, this white oak, I would cut it down because this tree has already dominated the space and it's going to start squeezing on roots, and I'm sure this white oak is being pinched under the ground, but I want that tree gone. Let this tree have the space. This tree here is very dangerous. Super thin. I mean, that's pretty thin, and of course it ain't dead, so it's still growing, and it's going to cause a major problem. So I will be cutting this tree down and getting rid of it, and I think right here is a good tree to remove, this cedar tree right here, and maybe I can put another bur oak tree in here, but it will help this white oak at the minimum. Greatly help its sunlight cause there. Here we go again with smilax. Totally destroyed. My wood's food supply is still not adequate. I mean, I'm getting more potential out of my deer, but I still have a long way to go in order to get some crazy good deer in here. And small properties, you're only limited to what you can do, but you can still squeeze out great deer on small tracts of land. All right, let's go over here. See, now we circle back to my experimental zone to where I was trying to get some greenery in here. You can see the dead oak right there. Probably, I'd say he's broken off enough to where I could probably safely cut him down. We'll see. Over here, fantastic oak tree. I love this one. This one is one of my favorites. It always produces, but it is, as far as like if you were looking for timber value, this tree right here is a fantastic specimen for lumber quality if that's what you're after. So you have to give these trees a lot of space in order to do that. The canopy on this tree is huge. But it still doesn't get a grade of an A because of these other trees right here are now killing off huge limbs. As a matter of fact, that limb fell out since last week. That was once a very, very long limb that had quite a few nuts on it. And now it's gone because of the shading out factor of these other trees. So I intend to cut this tree down. And that will help with the spacing a little bit and improve this tree by allowing another tree here to perish and take the nutrients that that tree is stealing from this big oak. But once again, huge tree. This is a awesome goal of a canopy with what this tree has. These limbs are so long, like in the other one, I can't get it all in the picture, and they've grown all the way out to those trees down there. Huge, long limbs. A lot of space out into the field. That limb right here, let me try to get out of the sunlight a little. To give you an idea, a lot of these limbs are as long as a lot of the oaks in here. That's how big this tree is. And it is one of the straightest growing oaks we have. That is more than 2 feet thick at the base. Matter of fact, it is at least 3 to 3.5 range coming out of the ground, but by the time you get to chest level, you're probably in the neighborhood of 24, 25 inches on the size of that tree. But it is a beautiful tree and a fantastic tree to have in your woods. The loggers did not take this tree because it was at a fence line. Otherwise, this would have been a grade A tree and it would have been gone some 40 years ago. Glad they didn't take it. All right, up here, we've got a lot of potential here to really improve this portion of the woods. Here, there's no food, there's no oaks. It's just pines, or not pines, but some cedar, a lot of hickory tree in here, maple, and if I didn't mention hickory, more hickory. That's what this dominant area is hickory, hickory, hickory. And this is what happens when you have logging people show up and there's no market for hickory. Well, they leave all your hickory trees and they take over. It's not healthy to do that. All right, so here we have fantastic potential. I'm not going to say anything at first, except I'm going to point out this tree and this tree right here. Do you see it? If you can figure it out, you're learning here. The biggest problem from keeping these trees from being all-star producers right now is that guy. This white oak has so much potential. I could give it a grade of a B if that hickory tree was not in the way. This guy right here is kind of in the same boat. Has a ton of space out this way to grow, but the hickory tree is preventing this side of the tree from growing any limbs. So I'm going to lose half my production because of a hickory tree. Remember, if you have the ability to cut whatever tree you want down, both those hickories right here, bye-bye. Now up here, this one here is in line with one of the largest black gum trees I've seen in a while. These trees can grow as high as 100 feet, but that is a big boy. Not helping my deer as of this point. And let's see here. I think I'll cut the video off here. And by the way, this all gets an F right here. There's no food, there's no oaks right there. I've got a couple of spots in here that are grading out okay. That tree there gives a nice help. I've got one tiny little patch of stuff for greenery down there. I mean, overall, it's not really going to affect the grade that much at all. But there you go. So we'll move on to the next set of videos.